Hey, and welcome to another installment of Talking Microsoft, the show about all things Redmond. Generally speaking, this is a special episode to me. If you're a Mac user, you're going to want to watch this episode for sure. At any rate, this is episode number 10, recorded Christmas Day 2016. Now, just on a personal note, I am recovering from a rather protracted illness. I had bronchitis and a sinus infection and a cold, and just everything went all nuts on me at once. So just now starting to recover and get my voice back a little bit, but it's not 100%. I have been super busy with work and different projects and so forth, but I want to get back to doing Talking Microsoft. Look at the analytics on YouTube and the number of views that these shows get. I was actually quite impressed with how well that these actually do. So I want to get back to doing this, and a subject I'm very passionate about is the Microsoft Windows ecosystem, its partners, the products, the experience. And but this is kind of a special episode because we're going to be talking a little bit about Apple later on in the program. But let's get started with the first topic today, which is the best apps for your new Windows 10 PC. Where to start when you get a fresh new PC built or you've bought one. What applications should you be looking at first to install on your new system? So, the first app to look at is called Wunderlist, which is a great to-do list manager. Wunderlist, available on the App Store, syncs with iOS, Android, the web. Great way to keep on track. Next is Lightshot, which is a snipping tool replacement for Windows, but is quite a bit more powerful, with the ability to share screenshots, social networks, emails, messaging apps, copy URLs to the clipboard. Pretty little potent application. The next is OneNote. By the way, OneNote is totally free, and it's available on Android, iOS, of course, the Mac, and Windows PC. Now, this is, if you think about this is Microsoft's solution to Evernote. It was actually before Evernote, I believe. I'm going to be switching back from Evernote to OneNote in the very near future as we migrate to Office 365. The next is the Chrome web browser. What can I say? That's my web browser of choice. Now, interesting enough, I cannot use Open Broadcaster with Chrome right now. I get a totally black screen, and I've been spent some time researching what the problem could be. I'm not sure, so I'm using Firefox, which is my second favorite web browser. The next application is France. Now, France is a way to unify all of your messaging applications into one application, so you can just kind of tab through Messenger, Skype. There's a whole bunch on here, Drag Talk, just a ton. It's worth checking out if you've got a lot of different messaging applications. You want to keep them in one spot. This might be worth looking at. Okay, the next application is NextGen Reader. NextGen Reader is a RSS reader, and it says it is the best you will find on Windows 10. You know, that's something I personally have gotten away from, is an RSS reader, and I should make substantially better use of that, considering that I'm going to be doing more and more shows devoted to the Microsoft ecosystem. NextGen Reader, check it out. Next is Plex. Plex is a media server, and it's free on the Windows Store, and it will create a media center for all your content that you can stream to all your devices, including an Xbox One. You can download it on your console, start streaming content from your PC. A lot of people swear by Plex. I think you can even install it on certain NAS-type devices as well and have a Plex server set up. Very, very good stuff. VLC is the Swiss Army knife of video utilities out there. If it can't play on VLC, there's nothing that's going to play it. A lot of people also use VLC to encode video, or I should say, kind of take it from one format to another as well. It does that very, very nicely. The next is Steam, which is from Valve, and this is where you can find popular PC games such as Fallout 4 and more, Skyrim, whatever. I have it, and I think a lot of PC users have Steam. If you don't, I find it to be the friendliest, especially, I don't know about you guys, but I have problems with Origin. Do you have problems with Origin? It don't want to open. It's just terrible. The only problem I have with Steam, every time I actually go to open Steam, I swear there's an update. That thing gets updated constantly. Okay, the next application is Read It. Read It is for you Reddit fans out there. Lets you get live notifications, live tiles, and support for gold features as part of a well-designed application. Check out Read It. The next is Sketchable. And Sketchable is on your Windows Surface devices. A Sketchpad application supports your Surface pens, lets you doodle, all that kind of stuff. If you do any kind of development, then you want to definitely have a copy of Notepad++. Absolutely free. A lot of people really swear by it. Next and finally is Wox. And that is a launcher that lets you find apps and quickly search the web. It's sort of like Alfred is on the Mac. Very, very indispensable stuff. Okay, the next story let's talk a little bit, about GameStop. Now, I'm lucky. I'm very fortunate. I have a very, very fast internet connection, but still, downloading a game can take a long time when you're talking 50, 60 or more gigabytes for a game for downloads. But the download thing has caused some people to wonder about the viability of this company right here, GameStop. Is there still hope for GameStop? And this is an article in Barron's. And the really boils down to this, that about 20% to 30% of software sales this last year has been in a downloadable format. All right, downloadable. But will that trend continue to ramp up very, very quickly? Will this put GameStop in danger? Now, analysts believe that no, that's not going to be the case. That pretty much a number of people have been streaming or downloading games have decided to go back and get the physical disc because of the size of the downloads and length time. Plus, there's a number of people out there right now who do not have they just don't have the broadband capabilities of downstream to handle these large downloads. So the bottom line is, look, the disc is not going to go away anytime soon, and there's a certain convenience factor in dealing with GameStop, and I don't think they're going to go they're not going to go away anytime soon. Yes, digital delivery of software of game titles is a problem for them, but I think it's going to be a much longer ramp-up phase before everybody is obviously downloading. It's all digital content as opposed to physical media. As a matter of fact, GameStop's shares went up, and another predicted they could hit as much as $35, up 37% from a recent $24.45. And they do pay a great dividend, and their stock went up 1.6% in Friday trading. GameStop's not in any real danger right now. I love this story. This is something that we all know. Microsoft's chief marketing officer, right, the guy that's actually his business is to convince us to buy a product, admits that maybe the forced Windows 10 upgrades were pretty painful. They were painful for Microsoft. Now, let's put this in context. He was talking on Windows Weekly. That's a show put on by Leo Laporte on his Twit network. And there's Paul Thurrott and some other folks on there as well. The bottom line was, what was the worst thing? What was the low point? What was the low point? Let me see if I can't find the screenshot on this. But the low point is when they had the pop-up screen. Do you want to upgrade to Windows 10? And people would click the red close the window button, and that would indicate you didn't want to. Well, Microsoft made a change on that, dirty pool Microsoft, where in turn would be acknowledging, yes, that I want that. And I think that happened last May. That happened back in late May. And boy, were people pissed. I mean, man, were people really, really pissed off at Microsoft over pulling that boner. And now all these months later, Microsoft's going, yeah, we really screwed up on that. That we kind of crossed the line on that. You think Microsoft, in my opinion, is continuing to cross the line by putting bloatware and advertising in my face. Almost every day I'm reminded that there's a new version of Office 365 that I need to be getting, as well as other stuff happening that I don't particularly care for. But the whole upgrade, because see, they committed to having a billion devices running Windows 10 within just like a 2 to 3 year period. And of course, that ramp up. I mean, you had that initial burst, but then it kind of started slowing down there. And Microsoft just kept getting more and more desperate as time went by to get you to do these upgrades. And Microsoft started pulling some pretty dirty crap on people, especially when they started to change the behavior. Now, according to the article here, it takes some time. They had to do an update, which took some time to get that behavior to change. That is the red close the window button, change it back the way it was. That took about 2 weeks and was pretty painful and clearly a low light for us. And we learned a lot from it, obviously. This is just not unique to Microsoft. This is a large company problem, right? I mean, it just is. Let me see if I can pull this paragraph right up here. Just bring it right up here. This section right here. This is when a large company decides they're going to do something in their best interests against the wishes of their customers. And I think come on, this is an example of what I call groupthink. This is groupthink. That somehow a group of smart men and women got together in a room and had a meeting and decided to act as a group a lot differently than I think that you would have asked them individually. This is groupthink. This is how corporations work. This is why they do some horrible, horrible crap and make some piss poor decisions when they're thinking as a group rather than using their own internal moral compass. And, well, as you can tell, Microsoft did not fare very well with doing this. But kind of interesting nonetheless. And I'm saving the best story for last, which is what happens if you've become a little bit disheartened by the way Apple's been doing things lately in their computer business. Now, the computer business for Apple only represents about 10% of the money that they make. Now, recently, Tim Cook said, hey, we haven't abandoned the desktop. Some great ones are coming, but let's get real. And according to an article from Bloomberg Technology, and I want to share this on the screen right now, how Apple alienated Mac loyalists. Let's get right into the meat and potatoes of this article. There's a lot of diehard Mac fans out there. I was never a fan per se. I believe in use the best tool for the job, etc. I've owned multiple Macs. I've always liked them. However, I have noticed over the last few years, the innovation coming out of Cupertino has been lacking. I can honestly say for the first time in many, many years, Apple doesn't make a single product I'm interested in. They took a long time refreshing the MacBook Pro to come out with this new MacBook Pro with the Touch Bar. And now, for the first time that I know of, Consumer Reports, get this, Consumer Reports does not recommend you buying a new MacBook Pro. And it's because of the battery life. Apple says it can get up to 10 hours. Reality is more like about 4. And now Apple is working with Consumer Reports trying to get this whole thing started. But think about it. Consumer Reports is recommending that you not purchase, or it's not a recommended laptop for their client base. That's huge. But this is indicative of a lot what's going on with Apple. If this article is to be believed, Apple has definitely, and this article, I should say, confirms what a lot of us already suspect, that the desktop computer, their Mac computer, is no longer very much of a priority at all. In fact, according to this article, Apple has combined, then there's no longer even a separate division of developers for the Mac OS. No. It's all one group now, and some of them work on iOS. iOS gets all the love now. All right, that's part of it. Secondly, Jonathan Ive used to be very active in working with the design team on Macs. Used to meet with them every week, go over prototypes and all that. All that has pretty much come to a standstill. In fact, key members of the Mac team, the hardware team, are leaving Apple. Now, the question is, if you're an Apple loyalist, is it time to finally come back to the world of Windows? Windows 10 is an amazing operating system. You can't get a better choice today than ever of new hardware that delivers better specifications, just as well built, for a whole lot less money. If you read this article, you will see beyond a shadow of a doubt that Apple's future is clearly in mobile, and their idea of a desktop machine is an iPad. That's where they want you to go. They would just as soon, I think, get rid of the Mac altogether. Of course not right now, but the bottom line is they're definitely not giving it the love. They're losing developers. They're losing designers. They're losing industrial engineers who are basically giving up on the Mac. Let's take a look at a couple of things. Let's look at the Mac Pro, introduced in 2013, not been refreshed in 3 years, over 3 years now since it's been refreshed. Way behind the times. No mention that it's going to be, revamped. This is not. Matter of fact, there was a memo that came out that basically suggested that Apple start looking maybe at manufacturing it again over in Asia. Don't know that is just a rumor. I'm not saying it's 100% fact. But the engineering team at Apple is, these folks are leaving. They're leaving because Apple clearly doesn't really want to do as much with the Mac. 10% of the revenue, all their money is, in fact, services at Apple made more money than what selling Macs did. So 75% comes from iOS, the iPhone, iPad. Over 10% comes from services. The Mac is around about 10%. Apple was going to introduce the new MacBook Pro with a larger battery, but apparently it failed a key test, and they pulled all their engineers off of the other projects in order to try to straighten this thing out. So it was shipped for the all-important back-to-school season this year. And so what did they do? They went back with a prior, older battery design that gave it a significantly shorter battery life, just to get it out onto the market. Now, this is a company that took its damn long time to get this thing to market. You would have thought that they would have had that worked out. You would think for a premium laptop that can sell way over 3,000, way easily over, we're talking 4,000, when you really start speccing them out. And they didn't test the battery life like they should have. So here's my take on this right now. I think that Apple, I'm not telling them how to run their business. They know damn well what they're doing. They believe the future is in mobile. That's what they're dedicating their resources to. And if you don't like it, well, move on to a different product, because this is what's making their money. They see that as continuing in the future, and it's just going to make them even more money. There's not very much money in the Mac anymore. It's going to be relegated to the past. The iPad is basically where their love is at, and the iPhone, and that's what it's going to be. That's their idea of computing in the future, and that's where they're putting their money and their focus and their attention. Here's the proof of this article from Bloomberg. Think about it. So if you depend on desktop machines and laptop machines, and you want to have great technology and you want to have the best of the best, in my opinion, you need to look at the Windows ecosystem. Get the heck out of the whole the whole Apple thing, because the future is not there for you. That investment in their hardware is not there for you. I'm not going to be buying any more new Mac computers. I'm done with buying Mac computers. It's Windows for me. Yes, I got a 2014 MacBook Pro, which I'm going to be giving over to my wife. She likes Macs, and that's fine. She can have her Mac. But for me, I just could never justify that kind of money, and I just don't feel like I'm getting enough value for the money. And here's the other thing: OS, or Mac OS as it's called now, guess what? You're really going to be using an operating system that has been delegated to the past. It's not going to be their main thing anymore. It's just not. The innovation is going to be happening on the Windows side of things and not the Apple side of things. And I think on that note, we're going to wrap up this installment of Talking Microsoft. Bruce Taylor, take care, everybody.